Have you ever felt an uncomfortable silence in the middle of your prayer? It's that nagging sense that, despite following every step, a vital component of the experience is missing. You go through the motions, reciting the Quran, completing the 5 prayers, repeating daily remembrances, only to step back into the noise of your day exactly as you were before. There is no newfound clarity in your mind, no lasting calm in your chest, and your typical habits and reactions remain entirely undisturbed. While the physical requirements of the ritual are checked off, the internal psychological engine that should be driving change has failed to engage. These acts were never intended to be mechanical. The original design for worship is active and results-oriented. The Quran defines a specific standard. Prayer actively deters wrongdoing, and the remembrance of God produces measurable peace. If this promise is guaranteed, we must have interrupted the connection in our performance. You aren't reciting the wrong words. You are simply missing the cognitive engagement required to translate those words into a shift in your character. There is a specific psychological culprit behind this emptiness. Scholars call it the affliction of familiarity and habit. It's a natural human adaptation. Just as we stop noticing the air we breathe, our minds become numb to practices repeated without variation. Profound statements of faith degrade into murmurs, becoming unconscious physical exercise. This leads to ghafla, or heedlessness. Your body is physically present in prayer, but your mind is preoccupied with the anxieties of your schedule. Routine has quietly stripped the influence these prayers once had over your daily conduct. Because this tendency toward habit is part of human nature, the Quran provides a specific metric to protect us from it. In Surah Al-Furqan, God praises those who do not encounter divine signs, deaf and blind. To be spiritually deaf and blind is to go through the motions of faith while your cognitive awareness is completely offline. The alternative is a believer who hears the words, sees the signs, and actively processes their intent. The effectiveness of any act of worship depends on whether your conscious mind is synchronized with what your tongue is saying. Moving from routine to devotion requires what the Quran calls an attentive ear. An attentive ear processes sound into meaning. It parses vocabulary, weighs the divine intent, and generates a response of obedience. To find the depth we're missing, we don't need to memorize new, more complicated litanies. We need to stop and interrogate the familiar words we already say every day. We have to look at them as if we are hearing them for the first time. Real worship is a process of intellectual rediscovery, finding new weight in the phrases we once thought were simple. Our task now is to deconstruct the specific verses and daily remembrances that the Prophet chose for his own daily life. By engaging with these words, we move away from the cold repetition of habit and toward the warmth of conscious presence. Restoring this cognitive awareness is the only way to reach the levels of focus and peace described by the early scholars.